fair over the weekend, and a farm family told me that they spent $12,645 on carbon taxes in July alone. Now, obviously, that gets passed on to customers. $12,645 in 1 month. Now the Prime Minister wants to triple the tax on that family, which they'll have to pass on, and even higher food prices, which have already gone up more than at any time in 40 years. How much will this family have to spend on carbon taxes when the Prime Minister triples them?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition doesn't seem to understand that clever slogans don't help families. Investments in Canadians help families. Checks help families. That's why we were so pleased when he reversed his earlier opposition to our GST tax credit and is now supporting that direct support for Canadian families. Why will he now not move forward and support our investments to support low-income rental families, families with rental, and low-income families with dental costs for their kids? Will he support rental and dental for low-income Canadians?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Feeding people is not a clever slogan. It is a necessity of life. This family spent $12,645 on carbon taxes in a single month. But it's still not enough for this Prime Minister. He wants to triple the tax, increasing the cost for that farmer, which then has to pass it on to the customer, which means that more of our food will be produced abroad and shipped up here, polluting more our environment by shipping, training, and trucking that food. Again, will he answer the question, how much will this family have to spend on carbon taxes once he's tripled them?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I just got back from Atlantic Canada, where people are reeling from the impacts of Hurricane Fiona. And the reality is these 100-year storms are going to be arriving with greater and greater frequency. We know that climate change is real, and it takes real plans and supports to fight climate change. And that's what we've been working on for the past 7 years, Mr. Speaker. At the same time as we've moved forward with ensuring that it is not free to pollute anywhere in this country, we are putting more money back in average families' pockets with the climate rebate. This is the focus that we need to continue to take for Canadians.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
One, his climate rebate comes nowhere near $12,645 for this farm family. Two, his carbon tax has not hit a single solitary emissions reduction target. It has not worked. And three, in the month of July, when this family was paying $12,645 in his carbon tax, supposedly for the environment, the Prime Minister jumped on his private jet 20 times. High carbon hypocrisy. He can't tell us how much the tax will cost. Will he tell us how much carbon he emitted in that month of July when he was raising the tax?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, you don't have to convince Albertans or Saskatchewanians who've dealt with wildfires that climate change is real. You don't have to convince British Columbians who've seen record levels of floods that climate change is real. You certainly don't have to convince Atlantic Canadians who are rebuilding after yet another storm of the century that climate change is real. People know we need to take action on that, and that's exactly what this government has done by putting a price on pollution to ensure it's no longer free to pollute anywhere in the country and given more money back to families that need it. When is the Conservative leader going to get serious on climate change?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister hasn't gotten serious on climate change. He has a tax plan, not a climate plan, that has raised money for his government but has not reduced emissions or hit targets. Now, this Prime Minister has the audacity to call this farm family polluters while he jets around in his private jet across the country. What the effect of his plan will be is to drive up domestic food production costs, drive that production out of our country to more polluting lands where it has to be transported longer distances. Why does he want to drive prices and emissions up and farm production and opportunity down?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if the Leader of the Opposition came up with, put as much energy into building a plan to fight climate change as he does into concocting elaborate theories and attacks, we might be better off. We might be able to compare a real climate plan from the Conservatives to what the government has been doing for the past 7 years. But he would prefer to focus on me than focus on Canadians and their future. We're going to stay focused on fighting climate change and putting more money back in Canadians' pockets. That's what Canadians expect. That's what we're going to keep doing.
The honourable member for